Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. With the release of No Time to Die on 4K Blu-ray, I thought I would take a look at the rest of Daniel Craig's James Bond movies on 4K and see if they were a worthy upgrade for your collection. Let's start where it all began, with the 2006 movie Casino Royale. Here are the tech specs. The film was shot on 35mm, it's got a 2K DI, the aspect ratio is 239:1, the runtime is 145 minutes, it's got a DTS 5.1 soundtrack, and it's rated 15 for the uncut version of the film. Having seen that the film and the visual effects had only been finished at 2K, I was wondering what this transfer would be like. MGM's 4K release offers a slight improvement over the Blu-ray. Not a massive leap, but a modest increase to detail on the image, with textures, background elements and most close-up shots showing improvements. Exterior and interior settings, such as the Bahamas and the casino set, benefit from elevated sharpness levels. Wrinkles and beads of sweat are slightly more defined, specifically on Daniel Craig's face. There is a fine layer of grain on the picture, visible in some shots more than others, and it has a slightly more natural and balanced look on the 2160p. The HDR gives the film's colour spectrum a nice boost, with environmental tones such as the blue sky and the green foliage in Madagascar displaying a richer vibrancy. Blacks are inky black, with increased shadow detail, and whites are crisp and bold, with the opening black and white fight scene in the toilet showing this off to a greater effect. Moving on to the audio quality. As all these films are, Casino Royale is accompanied with the same soundtrack as the Blu-ray, a DTS 5.1. Could this film have been improved with an Atmos soundtrack? Possibly. Maybe it would have made subtle uses of the overheads and the explosions may have had even more of an impact to them. But this 5.1 still holds up and is a very good soundtrack. It's a fun and engaging mix with a strong sonic presence that accompanies the film nicely, through the intense action sequences with gunfire and explosions to the quieter background environmental sounds. I don't think the listener should be disappointed. The subwoofer output is good, and the airport sequence produces some strong low end, particularly when the plane takes off. Dialogue is crisp and clean, coming through with a nice realism, and the musical score fills the soundstage effectively, making good use of the rear channels. Moving on to Craig's second instalment with the 2008 movie Quantum of Solace. Let's take a look at the tech specs. The film was shot on 35mm, it's got a 2K DI, the aspect ratio is 239:1, the runtime is 106 minutes, it's got a DTS 5.1 soundtrack, and it's rated 12. For the picture quality, just like Casino Royale, the overall image only picks up minor improvements, with textures and environments showing slightly better clarity than the 1080p. There has been a bit of DNR applied to the picture, not a lot but a little bit, which gives the image a cleaner and less gritty look, with a finer grain structure. Although the subtle uptick to sharpness provides more detail than the Blu-ray, I did feel at times the improvements could have been larger and that the image could have looked better. Colours benefit from a variety of tonal enhancements, with rich blue skies and earthy orange hues in the desert, alongside the bold, vivid explosions in the movie's climax. Blacks are deeper and richer, displaying more nuances in the image's darker areas, and whites are clean and crisp, particularly on clothing. The application of HDR makes up for somewhat underwhelming increases to sharpness and clarity. Moving on to the audio quality. Although there is no new immersive mix here, this DTS 5.1 is still a stunning soundtrack that captures all the drama and excitement of the movie. From the opening sequence with a high-paced car chase, the track delivers punchy gunfire and roaring car engines, which makes great use of the surround channels and LFE. Speaking of LFE, the explosive finale is a definite room shaker and may have your neighbours knocking on the door, proving this 5.1 track is still great many years later. David Arnold's musical score sounds terrific throughout the runtime, and dialogue is rendered clearly with no problems to report. Next up, Daniel Craig's third Bond movie, 2012's Skyfall. Let's take a look at the tech specs. The film was shot digitally in 2.8K, it's got a 4K DI, the aspect ratio is 239:1, the runtime is 143 minutes, it's got a DTS 5.1 soundtrack, and it's rated 12. In terms of picture quality, Skyfall is the first Bond movie to be shot digitally, and it's also the first of two here to have a 4K DI. Right from the beginning, you can see this transfer offers a larger improvement over the 1080p than the previous two have. The image is clean and crisp with a razor-sharp digital look. Close-ups reveal every pore, wrinkle and imperfection, with every hair follicle visible on Daniel Craig's stubble. Outdoor settings look fantastic, with increased clarity and depth, whether it be the streets of London or the Highlands of Scotland. Roger Deakins' cinematography in this movie has never looked so good. The film's colour scheme gets some nice improvements thanks to the HDR grading. Flesh tones are more accurately represented, light sources are punchy, and the vivid neon lighting in Shanghai is a standout, with bolder, richer colour vibrancy. Blacks are deep and inky with great contrast in the nighttime scenes. The final assault on Skyfall is a good example of this, with solid blacks against the warm orange fiery glow. Moving on to the audio quality, even though an Atmos mix would have been preferred, the 5.1 soundtrack is still lively and energetic enough to suffice. Whether it's piercing gunshots, loud explosions or crashing cars, this mix offers plenty of sonic delights that should please the listener. Environments are well catered for in this track, with everything from the rain on M's window to the congested London traffic, creating a good sense of immersion. Dialogue is well prioritised, and Thomas Newman's score is integrated into the mix with great effect. And finally, Craig's penultimate outing as James Bond in the 2015 movie Spectre. Here are the tech specs. The film was mainly shot on 35mm, apart from a few select shots captured digitally in 3.4 and 6.5K. It's got a 4K DI, the aspect ratio is 239:1, the runtime is 148 minutes, it's got a DTS 7.1 soundtrack, and it's rated 12. For the picture quality, this transfer is possibly the best looking 4K of these four films, and also offers the largest upgrade over the Blu-ray. After Skyfall was shot all digitally, Spectre went back to being shot on 35mm photochemical film for the majority. The image results in a pleasant filmic look with a natural and organic grain structure that's consistent from start to finish. Close-ups really shine on this transfer, displaying increased definition on pores and skin imperfections along with individual hairs. Environments are sharper and with better textural clarity, from the sunlit exteriors of Blofeld's base to the dark and warm interiors of the Spectre meeting. It shouldn't leave the viewer wanting much more. The application of HDR delivers some nice enhancements to the overall colour spectrum, whether it's the bold and crispy whites in the snowy Austrian landscape, the burnt sepia tones in Mexico City, or the vivid, eye-popping explosions. Colours look great on the 2160p. Moving on to the audio quality, Spectre still reuses the same soundtrack as the Blu-ray, but instead of a DTS 5.1, it's accompanied with a DTS 7.1. This track is no slouch, presenting the car chases, fight sequences and shootouts with a strong efficiency across the soundstage. The subwoofer output is robust and carries some decent heft, particularly with Thomas Newman's score. Dialogue is rendered with good clarity and precision, making it always easy to comprehend. And so for my ratings for each movie, I'll give Casino Royale an 8.5 for the picture and an 8.6 for the audio. For Quantum of Solace, I'll give it an 8.2 for the picture and an 8.7 for the audio. For Skyfall, I'll give it an 8.9 for the picture and an 8.9 for the audio. And for Spectre, I'll give it a 9 for the picture and a 9.1 for the audio. Putting them in order of best to worst, Spectre takes the top spot with the best overall visuals and sound. At a very close second is Skyfall, which some may put at number 1, especially with Roger Deakins' cinematography. In third place is Casino Royale, with a reasonable but modest upgrade. And in last place is Quantum of Solace, which I think has the worst image of the 4 and still has room for improvement with the picture quality. So these are my thoughts on the rest of Daniel Craig's James Bond movies on 4K Blu-ray. Will you be picking these up? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoy this type of content, why not consider subscribing, as I have new videos out every week. Thanks for watching, enjoy your movies, bye!